If you are a new or an aspiring founder of your small business and have no time to waste or really struggle to do your social media marketing, you will enjoy our Creating Reorganized show. In my day job as a psychology professor, I teach my bachelor and master students in real life how to reorganize processes in a goal-directed and future-proof way in companies. And that's what I have done for a living as a former IT strategy consultant. For my own career coaching business on the side, I can only dedicate a fraction of my time because, I prioritize care work for my little children. I face the same or similar challenges like all small business owners. So I applied all my experience and knowledge to create my other video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, to streamline my social media marketing and to boost sales of my coaching, e-courses, and affiliate products or services. I strategically capitalize on professional tools to scale my impact according to my vision of life. Listen and subscribe to this Creating Reorganized show so you will learn to do the same for your own business, to build the know, like, and trust factor, and to boost sales of your services or products. Please also ask your business-specific questions because for the next seasons, I envision interview episodes with aspiring and new founders like you, if you want to get your Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life. As in every episode, at the end, I will wrap everything up from a psychological method, theory, or concept point of view. So stay tuned until the end of this episode, especially if you are my bachelor and master student in real life. I would love for you to take notes and maybe even already recognize my arguments. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now welcome to our show, Creating Reorganized. How to qualify leads and convert them into paying customers? Hi, Creating Reorganized. Welcome back to Creating Reorganized, the show that helps small business owners like you streamline, converge, and sustain your marketing and sales efforts without feeling overwhelmed. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, part-time professor, full-time mom, and a podcaster who's been in your shoes. Today, we're diving into something that's at the heart of podcasting for business: how to qualify your podcast listeners and convert them into paying customers. Now, before you worry about needing a marketing degree or a fancy social media team, let me assure you, I will condense my relevant knowledge and experience into this episode. We're keeping it simple, actionable, and achievable. With this episode, you'll have the strategies you can implement today, whether you're just starting or looking to refine your podcasting approach, and I also recommend the tools that I really use. As always, at the end of the episode, I will wrap everything up from a psychological method, theory, or concept, so stay tuned until the end of this episode, especially if you are my bachelor or master student in real life. I would love for you to take notes and maybe even recognize my arguments. And don't forget, I'll be sharing my favorite tools to make this process seamless. Spoiler alert, they're the same tools I use to grow the Postdoc Transformation Show to 5 seasons, 60 episodes, and a global audience. That's 10K almost. Now, the first question really is, why qualifying your listeners matters. Do you know which leads are ready and worth your effort to convert into your customers? If you don't, that's okay. Most small business owners start by talking into the void of social media. But here's the thing, qualifying your leads in social media is like finding the diamonds in the rough. Not everyone who likes, shares, comments on your social media, and even who listens to your podcast is your ideal customer, and that's completely fine. If you're like me, on LinkedIn, for example, I get countless contact requests without a message, and I can then guess whether that person is a high-ticket lead worth my effort to convert or not. But that distinction early in that point can be wrong. And so if there's no message within the contact request, once a week or a month, I often reply with a link to my podcast or to certain episodes that I think can be a fit for that person. If that person then responds back with thanking and referring to the episode, that contact becomes a little bit warmer. In every episode of my podcast, I offer a lead magnet. So if that podcast listener clicks on the lead magnet, in my case, that's, for example, a quiz to check your readiness to leap out of sight, which I created in type form. They can select to get the results by email. And if they enter their email address, the contact gets automatically on my email list, triggering the delivery of a valuable but automated email course. And in my case, that's a career transition made simple email course, which I created in ActiveCampaign, where I soft and hard sell my paid e-courses, which is career transition courses at universities. If they click on buying my paid high-ticket e-courses, this is the moment when I can take action myself, because this is, when I earn money. But until then, I valuably serve my leads in an automatic, hence cost-effective, strategic way. With my evergreen podcasting content, that is the foundation for my top-of-funnel social media activities. I can find and serve my leads 24/7, 365 days of the year, and no cost for them, while I don't burn out because I work strategically, capitalizing on technology. Before going back to our episode, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. I want to share with you my best marketing agent. Serving my underprivileged, underrepresented, and underserved audience, leads and clients is key for me as an Asian working mom, business owner, and professor in Germany. But I can't be marketing and selling all the time, and I have to be mindful with my own resources. So I chose Podbean as my podcasting host and monetizing provider. I'm on the Unlimited Plus plan for our Postdoc Transformation show and Creating Reorganized show. With Podbean, your audience can inclusively listen and watch your podcast according to their visual and auditive needs. You can also embed your customized podcast player on your external website or use one of the beautiful website templates. You can easily share your podcast on all major podcasting directories, which allow you to reach a huge audience on their favorite devices in their countries. Podbean also has an ads marketplace, and you can easily attract and manage sponsors for dynamic ads, which are played out depending on your audience criteria. This way, you can serve your audience for free. Some of them become your clients eventually, but your advertising sponsors independently support you financially in each episode. You will see insightful stats per demographic and which episodes attracted most listeners, so you can tailor your future episodes for your leads and clients and present suitable external ads. If you want to try out Podbean for your own podcasting, DM or email me Podbean so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Podbean link. Now back to you. You can also create a business promotion podcast for your ideal client avatar. It's not a hobby, okay? It's not a hobby. You are not podcasting to please everyone, to be cool, whatever. You are podcasting to serve a specific audience who needs your product or service to ultimately boost your business. Nothing more, nothing less. Think of your listeners in 3 groups. Number 1, curious explorers. They're browsing because your social media content is great, not really yet invested. Number 2, engaged learners. They like your content and want more. Maybe they subscribe and follow, etc. And number 3 is potential buyers. They're interested in what you offer and they're really ready to take action. And that's where you want to jump in. And maybe you now think, the buyers are the ones who also click on like and review your podcast to share your business. Well, not always. Why? Well, depending on the nature of your business, it really is possible that, happy customers won't shout you out. Not immediately, because their status would be endangered at the moment. For example, if you are a divorce lawyer and podcasting to get clients, your happy clients in the moment, they probably won't be sharing your episodes and podcasts to unveil that they are undergoing a divorce, regardless how much they want with your service, right? And same with my postdoc transformers. Yeah, that's what I call my listeners affectionately. Even if they value my show for free, they don't necessarily are willing to share my show on their social media. That would unveil that they want to leave signs, and this is probably not making their supervisor very happy. And that can potentially lead to a worse grade of the dissertation and less investment or engagement by the supervisor. But what else can you then look at? You can still have the number of listenings and your retention rates as key performance indicators. And if this does not ring a bell, I encourage you to listen to our very first episode when we talked about key performance indicators for your business promotional podcasting. But guess who will recommend you? Recommenders or super friends are the ones they really like you as a personal brand. They don't necessarily buy your product and service, but they want you to thrive with your business. As applicable, you should invite and interview them for your podcast so they're also invested and benefiting from your success. Your goal is to guide listeners through these stages 1, 2, 3 by providing value and building trust. And the best part, a well-crafted podcast does this naturally without you feeling salesy. Now here's your prompt to reflect. Ask yourself, what transformation do I want my ideal listener to experience with my podcast? Write it down and let this vision guide your episodes, episode by episode. Pro tip here, the more purposeful it is, the more motivational it is for you when the going gets tough starting out, and the more it will resonate with your superfans who will like and share your content on social media. One of my favorite recurring segments in my postdoc transformation show is the postdoc transformation avatar audio clip, which I use as an affirmation mantra for my younger self, painting the aspired transformation after the PhD, the doctorate. I even have that exact segment as a social media clip, which you can find in the show notes, and that's a perfect example of how I repurpose what I have once recorded in Descript to later enrich it with B-roll, so background roll, and repost it as often as I like in my Instagram stories, for example, where new leads are often curious to check out my content. Do you know who brings this valuable episode for free to you? I want to share with you my time and energy saver. As a professor for industrial and occupational psychology, I also teach about the future of work, and as a former IT strategy consultant, of course, I embrace AI to be a future-proof podcast producer of the Postdoc Transformation Show and the Creating Reorganized show. Descript is the video and audio podcast editing tool of my choice. I pay for their creator plan, and it's worth every dollar. Descript comes with an integrated professional remote recording studio for the best audio quality for your guests and you. For example, I record an hour interview with a guest or a solo, and instead of painstakingly doing a rough cut and deleting all the ums and ahs and filler words and rambling around, which I did for hours, I now click on Descript's AI, editing for clarity, and my rough cut is done in seconds or a minute. For fine-tuning, I edit text instead of audio waves, and I just insert all my pre-recorded music, intro, ads, and outro, like this one, in a matter of minutes. I can then easily export closed captions, fine-tune AI-driven summaries, chapter markers, and titles, which I feed into my show notes and podcast host. Descript even suggests the best clips for social media, and their video editor automatically includes the synchronized speakers, cameras, and audio captions. I can also include stock graphics or pre-recorded videos. You can find our short-form examples on our Instagram and TikTok at Postdoc Transformation. If you want to try out Descript for your own podcast editing, DM or email me, Descript, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Descript link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode. Now that we have covered the why, let's jump into the how, shall we? Here are 5 strategies to qualify your listeners effectively. Define your target audience clearly. If your podcast tries to serve everyone, it will serve no one. Narrow down who you are speaking to. For example, my Creating Reorganized show is still small, but I envision my target audience as aspiring or new business owners and founders who struggle with consistency and marketing and want a streamlined approach. And there's an actionable tip for you. Use tools to create forms and surveys like Typeform to create a quick and attractive quiz for listeners. Ask about their pain points and goals to understand their needs better. And if you are curious how we brand our customized quizzes, you will find our 2 flagship lead magnets as linked in the show notes. And like I said, we already use Typeform for many purposes, like qualifying leads, so that only high-ticket leads receive my calendar link. We also use it to present information in a yes letter style, like information for show sponsors or interview guests. And as a scientist, I have worked with many survey services, and when it comes down to business, I prefer a form which I can 100% brand for my business, which looks cool, which feels cool, so I can embed it in all my outreach activities like website, emails, and calendar. Next is to add a clear call to action in every episode. After delivering value, ask your listeners to take a specific action. For example, if you're struggling with organizing your marketing efforts, grab my free checklist in the show notes. And here's a pro tip. You can use ActiveCampaign, the tool that I also love, to track down who downloads your free resources. These are the most engaged listeners, and that way you can also segment your audience according to their demands based on what their behavior is. You can set all kinds of events that trigger an automated workflow. For example, I track email open rates and click-through rates for every link to my offer, so I know when someone has clicked on a specific offer, so I can email that lead specifically. This is a huge lead qualification process that you can boost with trackable data, so you can direct your own efforts to convert only the most promising high-ticket leads. And I already mentioned that I have my flagship lead magnets, but you can also create lead magnets tailored to episodes, which is segmenting your audience as well. For each topic, offer something actionable. A template, a mini guide that offers a taste of your products or services, so you can continue to nurture your listeners until they convert into buyers. And everything that you offer obviously has your branding, your services, etc. So actually it's really free advertisement, but they opt in. That gives them a free value. And if you really enjoy podcasting, you can even think of a bonus podcast episode aligned with your business services or products. With Podbean, you can create bonus episodes in a Patreon program, or you can get tipped during podcast live streaming, sell merchandising, or receiving donations. And you can find more in my affiliate link for Podbean. But to be honest, this is valuable for podcasters without a product or service. But if you are a business owner promoting your own high-ticket business, that really is more strategic and less distracting. For example, I do have a Shopify shop, but I don't mention it always. Instead, I give my Shopify products to the buyers at the graduate school. So not to my listeners, but to the buyers. This reminds them to also book my high-ticket e-courses next year. Having the Shopify set up eases my customization and delivery around the world. Or when I am at a scientific conference, I have some of my branded mugs and card games as giveaways. And I want to share some behind the scenes of my other show. I used this strategy on the Postdoc Transformation Show and found that my lead magnets converted listeners into email subscribers while I'm doing other things in my life. And that's great because I own my email list. If you're just building on social media without your own podcast or video stream on YouTube or whatever, then you are building on borrowed land. And that land can be taken away from you without asking you. And it's great also because I can serve my audience when they need me. They choose to listen to my podcasts when they're ready, not when I have published. Also not when I am available. I get to help them for free, and if they're ready to buy, they already know me as the go-to person, as the expert, as the one who can help solve their problems. If you want to learn more about creating reorganized, then check out my blog, creatingreorganized.com. Before going back to our episode, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. I want to share with you my #1 lead generator, and you can start that even without a podcast. It's Typeform, and I use them to create free quizzes with open questions and multiple choice answers. I also predefine mandatory answers so I can qualify and score leads, collect their email addresses for later nurturing. I can brand my quizzes, for example, my Check Your Readiness to Leap Out of Science quiz, with my audio and video files, so this way I can share specific podcast episodes or other information based on their answers, and then automatically send them an email after submitting the quiz. I even included a calendar invite for those leads who qualify specifically. So now I can help everyone on the surface for free and divert my valuable time only to my high-ticket leads on a deep level. I collect all the data automatically after my initial setup, as I have also integrated it with my remaining tech stack. If you want to try out Typeform for your own lead generation and qualification, DM or email me Typeform so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become the customer using my Typeform link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode. You need to also monitor listener engagement, and I always look into my metrics, my statistics. I mean, obviously, I'm a scientist, so I love quantitative data. And the question really is here, who's listening all the way through? Who's having a good retention rate from start to finish, but also from week to the next week? Who's interacting with your social media posts and replying to your emails? These engaged listeners are potential clients, and if not, at least they are recommenders or superfans of your work. And you can use tools like Podbean, Spotify, TikTok, or Instagram Analytics to analyze your audience data. I always want a bird's eye view, so I check all my analytics from all social media platforms in Metricool, from which I also schedule content to all my social media platforms. You could even ask your most engaged listeners to be testimonials for a business promotion podcast to reach more people like them. But remember, not every listener will convert into a buyer. You could even ask your most engaged listeners to be testimonials for your business promotion podcast to reach more people like them. I would do that with the buyers, not necessarily with the listeners. In my case of the Post-Doc Transformation Show. And remember, not every listener will convert into a buyer. So you need to increase your reach, and your superfans can help you grow as they grow their business with your podcast. So mentioning them, shouting them out will also help you when you grow your show. A huge growth factor I have experienced is using stories to build trust. Talking about testimonials, you can also share relatable examples of how your product and service has helped others, at least helped you. People buy from people they trust, and the more they understand how you have helped people like them, the more probably they will also buy your service or product. So here's a quick story. I once had a listener reach out to me after hearing my struggles with juggling parenting and podcasting, and that story led to a coaching session and later a long-term business relationship. Never underestimate the power of being real. I always say in my biopsychology lecture, emotions are the glue for learning. So you want to use your business podcast to emotionally teach your potential clients. They shall learn that you have services or products that will solve their problems so that they can enjoy their life. And this is also an example for your storytelling. I rarely mention everything on the surface level of social media. What qualifies me to be the host of the Post-Doc Transformation Show or this Creating Reorganized show? I always think and put forward what is really beneficial and relatable for my listener at the moment. When we talk about emotions, then yes, I can draw from my biopsychology and coaching background. When I talk about how you can benefit from using technology, I would even mention my IT strategy consulting experience at Accenture, a top global management company. Having worked with large corporate companies is really relatable for small business owners. me, as a small business owner myself, is far more useful for you. So you can choose to weave in your personal brand behind your business offers so that you can get their attention in an emotional way. And one last thing about storytelling. When you tell your stories, it should not be about you. Your stories should help your audience see your solution for their problems so that they want to buy your service or products. Now, back to your customers. Okay, so you've qualified your listeners. Now, how do you convert them? You can showcase your expertise consistently. With every episode, you offer value, but you also leave room for curiosity. For example, if you are a fitness coach, share tips on building a workout routine, and that would be a great demo of your service in your video podcast, but hint at a more in-depth guide or coaching service that they can access when they buy your service or product. You can share why you have built your product or service, how you have developed it, what you have really poured into it, the obstacles they would face without your service, their aspirational transformation. That way, your clients get excited, understand the challenging journey ahead, and want to pay for the shortcut to start their transformation immediately. Now, you can wonder, if your listeners get value for free, why should they pay for more? Well, it's about building know, like, and trust, and creating room for real gratitude and curiosity. If you can serve for free such a huge value, your paid offer will be even more valuable for them. And how can you intrigue them and make them more curious? You can use dynamic ads for your services or episode slots, where you promote your seasonal offers or something like that. Nobody wants surprising, hard-selling interruptions. You can softly mention your offers in the meat of your episode and dive quickly and shortly into your offers during natural breaks. So right now I'm using Descript. I'm recording myself, and that way I can have a social media clip if I want to later on. And I can also, transcribe everything automatically with their AI. If you're really serious about starting a podcast, check out my affiliate link in the show notes. I really swear by Descript. You can also create an exclusive bonus or offer for your listeners. Something like listeners get 10% off of my signature course or get a free mug or whatever. The key here is mention this at the end of the episode so only engaged listeners hear it. In my case, I offer a generous 50% affiliate split if the scientists who are listening to our postdoc transformation show get their grad school or university to book my flagship e-course customized to their PhD student cohort. I don't necessarily have an easy foot in the door at every university, but my listeners are usually PhD students or even postdocs. So they can knock on the door at the graduate school and get me booked. And that is worth 50% of the sales split. Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. If you want a relatively passive income, creating a paid e-course as your service is a great option. Especially if you are like me, an experienced teacher in higher education and now want to share even more knowledge and create a paid membership with live group meetings beyond the e-course. Offering an e-course is a no-brainer, and Thinkific is an AI-infused learning management system which is a dream for every educator. After setting up an e-course and our membership, you also need to market and sell your e-course. And that's when lead generation with Typeform and podcasting via Descript and Podbean can complement you well. If you want to try out Thinkific for creating your own e-course and membership, DM or email me Thinkific so I can share my experience or consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Thinkific link. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode. I strategically have a consistent structure in my own podcast episodes so I can insert a podcast advertising spot every 4 to 6 minutes. That also helps my team to take over editing because they know the proven structure. If you deliver high value for free to increase listening until the end of the episode, you have already earned your right to share products and services you stand by, or your own valuable products or services every 4 to 6 minutes. That really is okay. And if you think that is too much, check your analytics in your podcasting host. If your retention rate is good enough, mine at Podbean is a weekly 100%, which you can see in the show notes, then you're doing okay with balancing free value and your listeners accept your advertisement. And ideally, it's also appreciated advertisement in the form of recurrent infotainment. You can also host Q&A sessions or episodes, so you can encourage questions from listeners just like I do. I want to answer questions from my listeners because they inform what to create in future episodes, right? And you want to answer those questions in a natural way that ties back to your product or service. This is great for reducing customer support, as you can handle and anticipate possible objections before the buying decision, and that really qualifies your leads. This is also a great opportunity to create a new service as you are listening to potential or existing clients' real pain points. Now, as promised, at the beginning of this episode, let's wrap up everything from a psychological method. Now, let's talk about a concept to analyze your work, which consists of 8 components. Component number 1, tasks. Aligned with your business goals, you have countless tasks like strategizing, creating, and delivering your service or product, operating the daily business, paying your vendors, billing your customers, customer support or complaints, and, whatever. Within our Creating Reorganized show, I want you to see the connection between podcasting to promote your business products and services, marketing, to understand and qualify your leads and customers, to reduce customer support and complaints, and to increase sales and upselling efforts. I even used my own podcasting experience to pivot my business strategy and model. So, strategic business promotional podcasting can be a new task for you that will boost your other tasks in a goal-directed way. Component number 2, task-related activities and requirements. Are you capable to plan and execute all podcasting-related activities, or do you need to upskill? I remember my early podcasting days when I recorded into my iPhone, edited sound waves, and simply recorded again and again until I was satisfied with the results, and stitching then together short audio files in external converter software to ultimately upload the whole thing into my Podbean account. Then I transcribed my short audio files using a free software, copied and pasted everything as my show notes to increase search engine optimization on my website. I also integrated my tech stack to be able to automate from one service to another. The first couple of 20-ish episodes, I was happy because I was learning something new, but I already saw that this is nothing that I want to do for a couple of years. That is too much. At the same time, from a business point of perspective, I acknowledge that a lot of the editing, etc., is not really moving the business needle. And here's my recommendation for you. It could be too much and a waste of time for non-techie small business owners or founders. So you need to set up automations, and, that can be a one-time challenge, which you set and forget. But, there are a lot of technical aspects of podcasting that are recurrent. And I also wanted to reduce my own time and effort. Let's pause quickly to appreciate those who sponsor this valuable episode. So far, you have learned all my favorite marketing and sales tools. Now, how can you bring all the data from your audience, leads, and clients together so you can serve them on a value ladder and for the long term? Even after multiple touchpoints with you, you want to remain on their mind for when they are ready to buy your service or product. I'm expanding my digital business, and I use ActiveCampaign as the centerpiece of all my services like email course, podcast, newsletter, show notes, website, sales page, merch shop,
forms, whatever it is, as needed. As a former IT strategy consultant, I have high requirements on my tech stack, and ActiveCampaign offers so many integrations to all my other apps. I use it daily. If you want to create your own digital business with the various AI-driven lead magnets and funnel options, DM or email me, ActiveCampaign, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my ActiveCampaign link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode.
And this is the perfect bridge to component number 3, interaction with machines, material, or tools. I'm using Descript, and their AI-infused recording in studio sound quality allows me to get automated and highly accurate full episode transcriptions, and I now edit words and not sound waves. Right, so I do have a professional microphone, which is a Focusrite Vocaster 1 here, like this one. And then I click on Studio Sound and it sounds like in the studio. This is such a time saver. I would even say it's the biggest, as this is a recurrent task that I can only do at my desktop computer when I'm at home alone in recording mood, like now, right? So my kids are at school at the moment, and you can even outsource that editing to someone else in your team. After my manual and human recording as a brand voice of my own business, the studio sound enhancement and the rough edit is done by the AI-infused Descript app within minutes while I sip my coffee. And this leads to component number 4, deliverables. I create then my next deliverables for the visualization of my podcast. So that could be the episode cover, thumbnail, banner, social media video backdrop, and that is also just minutes because I have already standardized that. Actually could be done by a team member according to my standards. By the way, this is your opportunity to enrich your branding because your podcasts and episode covers are displayed very small on your mobile device, more like the size of a postal stamp, and it's important to have a recognizable, legible, attention-grabbing artwork, because this is how your podcast may get discovered within the suggested podcast section of a given podcast player. And over the course of 60 episodes, I think in the last 10 or so in the last season, I changed the thumbnail, the episode cover to acknowledge that. And then someone in my team or even I can fine edit the audio as the auditive deliverable. AI will then create chapter markers within my script and summarize it. And someone in my team can export the final script and copy paste that into my, again, strategically standardized and proven show notes structure on ActiveCampaign. And just to be clear, the show notes, chapter markers, summary, and subtitles, etc. are all visible deliverables. Okay, I can fine-tune the description. My team member exports the subtitles for Podbean and uploads the final audio as an MP3, including the description with clickable lead magnets, chapters, and subtitles to serve and include my neurodivergent audience. Once that episode is set to be published within Podbean, I create the social media clips, and these, by the way, have a visual and auditive aspect. So it's not just an audio clip where you see the sound wave, but instead it has a video of myself, but also a suitable background. And I actually use the background also as a billboard for other episodes. And Descript has an AI feature that helps selecting what parts of the whole audio will entice your audience to listen to the full episode. With my experience, I already know what I do because I usually have, like a title, a subtitle, and then I go into a paragraph, and that usually is already a small social media clip in itself. Then I use the video backdrop we created before. So out of an hour, I can probably get 20 or so social media clips. So I have plenty to choose for scheduling. So I produce more. That way I can have, for whatever reason, I cannot create something new. I still have a lot of canned video clips that I haven't shown before. But for a week between 2 episodes, I share daily the 7 strongest social clips. So if you have an episode every 2 weeks, then it would be 14 social media clips, obviously. So someone in my team or I can then schedule the social media assets to all my social media platforms within Metricool. We use the repeat auto list. So this way, I don't have to create and post every day or so, but instead I can use my time to just comment and be rest assured that my posts are going live whenever we have scheduled them to be going live. And for my season breaks, my team member or I return to the social media clips and create image carousels with the captions. So we strip the audio to create a visually engaging carousel post or Instagram or LinkedIn, or even a photo post on TikTok, which adds variety without huge effort on our side. And of course, I use automation for that too.
Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. Are you wondering when and where you can get the attention of your audience? You always think you don't have the time for posting on multiple social media platforms. I totally get you. I have been enjoying weeks of social media breaks during the school breaks while I served my audience with prepared content to be scheduled out as needed. Ideally, you have just derived countless social media content from your one video podcast episode. Even without a podcast, with Metricool, the Swiss Army knife for your social media management, you can create and schedule your content in advance, according to the best posting times based on your followers. For campaigns across many days or weeks, I capitalize on their auto list and repeat features so I can focus on the important things according to my vision of life. If you want to schedule your content on social media, DM or email me Metricool so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Metricool link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode.
Now, let's move on to component number 5, work environment. All of this I do on my desktop computer with a mouse, 2 huge screens, and a keyboard. So that is all together with your basic recording equipment, which is a ring light, an audio shield, a microphone, a webcam, your work environment. Some tasks even only require a mobile phone. So some of these I do while I'm waiting for my kids' hobbies or so. And next comes component number 6, the social environment. If podcasting was your only thing, it could be lonely because it really is a parasocial relationship between you and your audience. They get to know you, you don't know a lot about them. But as you are a small business owner or founder, you won't be lonely. Still, you can think like me that, interviewing international inspiring guests can be an enrichment to your social environment. But like I already have established in our first episode of Creating Reorganized, I don't recommend this for the majority of your season. Having guests also slows down your workflow. You may want them to also check and approve your assets, but they don't have time, and they don't make time to be aligned with your publishing schedule, and then you have to reschedule, etc. Or once you have done all your work, they don't share your posts celebrating them. And I know what I'm talking about, right? So going solo is really the fastest way to produce a podcast. I was able to crack out 5 new episodes from ideation to publication within 2 weeks, but only because I did solo episodes where I'm the only one to approve the interim results, and I have a well-oiled social media teaser content schedule. So that is a no-brainer for me. But recording others who are maybe shy on camera, hesitant then to share, can really slow your game. And there's also one other thing. If you interview other people, you may become known for being a great interviewer, but not so much providing the solutions. If you are interviewing other coaches or other experts, they get the reputation, not you. Next component is number 7, methods to control quality standards. Well, being a small business owner, you should also aim for the optimum as your podcast represents your business brand. and also your personal brand, right? So of course you should use your business brand colors, the fonts, the business logo everywhere in above mentioned assets. How you can create consistently your assets speaks really about your professional mindset as a business owner, which also attracts new leads and super fans. Despite that, I had a personal hard time in 2023. I did not miss a single episode after I planned out my seasons. I changed the season length, the format, the content pillars to reduce the risk of failure and to keep and even increase productivity by means of paying for professional future-proof software. It's not meant to be a manual task in the era of AI. I really mean business with my business promotional podcast. This is not my hobby, so I have the same quality standards as in my other professional work. And that's the perfect leeway to the eighth and last component to analyze your work as a podcaster for your own business. All of that previously mentioned means, of course, that I had to upskill and practice my new insights, demonstrate new skills and results by promoting my own podcast, reevaluate my efforts, and commit from season to season. And that is a huge learning curve. And I'm so proud of myself that I did this. I don't know whether you know that. After I had 1,000 listenings, I celebrated that. Thereafter, I went into a studio and recorded my own voice with a professional guitar player and also sound engineer. So that is why you have a nice jingle at the bulk of my episodes. And for the Creating Reorganized show, I also celebrated my almost 10K listenings of the Post-Doc Transformation show. And tomorrow I will record the intro for my Creating Reorganized. So by the time that one goes live, you will see that I have recorded the meat of this episode already way before the jingle was created. And to wrap up, that determination, I believe, qualified me to be an affiliate link promoter for the podcasting apps that I trust. My work as a podcaster was showcased by Podbean and also Descript, for example. We went live in their YouTube sessions, showcasing their new features.
To celebrate this season of the Creating Reorganized show, I want to offer you a business podcasting internship for 4 weeks. You can apply or join the waitlist for the next season for this treat by sharing why you want to do a business promotional podcast, what your services or products are. And if you and your business are in line with my own values, I will strategize, conduct, and produce with you your first 3 episodes. For the first one, I take the lead and you shadow me. For the second one, you do the work and I help you out. For the third one, you are on your own with me, cheering for you on the sidelines. For more details, see our application form as linked in the show notes. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode.
Back to analyzing, reorganizing, and maybe initially setting up your podcasting for success. Here's your prompt to reflect. Again, do you recognize that I have a call to action for you again? Rewind and listen back to your components to analyze your work as the creator of your own business promotional podcast. And here is a quick rundown of the components 1 to 8. Number 1, task. Number 2, task activities. Number 3, interaction with machines, materials, and tools. Number 4, deliverables. Number 5, work environment. Number 6, social environment. Number 7, methods for quality control. And number 8, skills. So what are the tasks of your podcasting that you want to commit? Not all of my tasks mentioned above are the ones that you have to do on your own. You can outsource and decide not to do some of them. If you capitalize on technology like I do, scripting and recording your episode is the biggest effort. The rest are low-hanging fruits using my strategic framework. You can now check which podcasting skills you want to upskill. And if there's only one skill that you want to upskill, I would recommend storytelling, as you must be your own business brand, face, and voice on your business promotional podcast. With Spotify Wrapped 2024, I'm honestly excited to see my podcaster persona to be categorized as storyteller. At first, I was like, oh, that sounds like a little bit boring because, of course, as a professor, I have to be a storyteller. But then again, that was really more than expected because it confirms that I can be a borderless and inclusive digital storyteller outside of my in-person classroom. And to this point, my social selling index on LinkedIn is top 1% in the ranking with comparable professors and business owners because these are the two current positions in my LinkedIn bio. I'm ranked in the top 18% in my LinkedIn community, which is super cool as I have many top voices with many followers as first contact, which makes it a challenging competition for me. Social selling leaders, and that's what you want to be, right? With your own business, services, and products. Social selling leaders get more opportunities, reach more quotas, and sell more than peers with a lower index who don't use social media to promote their services and products, But as founders and business owners, we primarily do business and can't live on social media, right? At least I can't. As a mom, no way. The good news here is you must invest your time to record your business brand, face, and voice. Okay, non-negotiable. Everything else before and after, however, can be outsourced and enhanced by software. So check which assets you want to produce consistently so that you can commit to them. With only two hands, you can't reap all low-hanging fruits of a tree. So consider buying the right podcasting hardware and software, check your social work environment, assuming that you keep working on your business otherwise, you won't be feeling lonely podcasting, as this won't be your only thing. But instead, you can collaborate with your business partners left and right, below and above your supply chain, and also collaborate with your superfans. Set your own quality standards and then work to honor your standards. You can choose to do less, but you should always maintain your quality standards as this speaks for your business. And last but not least, you should also be strategic and skilled enough to outsource and approve whatever you have outsourced, right? After all, your business promotion podcast can be your most powerful function of your business, but it's certainly not the only one. So there you have it. A roadmap to qualify your podcast listeners with tracking which tools were listened to, inviting them to benefit from your lead magnets, for example, in Typeform or ActiveCampaign, and converting them into paying customers. Remember, the key is consistency and authenticity. You don't need to sell to everyone. Speak to the ones who truly need your solution. Be generous to the ones who cannot afford yet to buy your services and products, as they will be maybe grateful recommenders, superfans, sharing your mission. Build trust, provide value, and guide them toward taking that next step with you.
Do you want to start your own side business as a runway for your better future? Then you will benefit from our free business readiness quiz as linked in the show notes. Are you a small business owner and want to create sustainable marketing and sales content? Try video podcasting about your service or product, like I do in my postdoc transformation show. I'm a mom of 2 kids in school and a professor, and I have no time to lose running my business. And if you also want to save time and energy, use our Dovetail Evergreen strategy. You can easily derive countless valuable social media content from just one video podcast episode. You can quickly attract a broad audience across many social media platforms and then nurture them into leads and clients in their ears and emails while you live according to your vision of life. Let me teach you Creating Reorganized. If you're ready to dive in and start your own podcasting journey, I highly recommend checking out the tools I mentioned earlier: Podbean, Descript, Typeform, ActiveCampaign, Thinkific, and Metricool. Each of these services has made my podcasting business experience smoother and more efficient, and I trust that they can help you too. Thank you for listening to our Creating Reorganized show. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your business friends, and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. Your feedback helps me as a small business owner to serve more small business owners for free, so thank you. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now I wish you a happy creating reorganized according to your vision of life.
Creating